Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Health Matters on behalf of the Islamic Medical Association. The topic for discussion tonight is anxiety disorders. And before we actually begin, we will start off with a tarbiyah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And give glad tidings to those who are patient in adversity, who when calamity befalls them say, Verily to Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. It is they upon whom their blessings and grace are bestowed. With reference to the above verses, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is reported to have said, Whoever is struck with a calamity and says or reads the dua, Indeed, we belong to Allah, and to Him is our return. Lord, be Thou my helper in this trial, and replace my loss with what is better. Allah will surely help him and replace his loss with something better. Such words of wisdom represent the ultimate cure for one's sufferings, calamities, and losses, which are the cause of one's sorrow, anxiety, stress, and depression. These words demonstrate one's knowledge of his Lord, and they are most beneficial to one's well-being in this world and in the hereafter. These words embody two sublime elements, and when a servant realizes them, they will certainly engage his focus and make his calamity seem insignificant. Firstly, the above prayer means that the servant, his family, and his property truly belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He can take them back whenever He so desires. The second aspect of this prayer deals with the eventual destination of the servant to his Lord and Creator without his family, his fortune, or his kindred. When the servant understands the above, he must realize that he doesn't really own anything. All belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and thus he cannot be sorrowful for something that he didn't own in the first place. Reflect on these ayat. Try to truly and sincerely commit yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and insha'Allah, all your anxieties and sorrows will disappear. But you must be truly committed. Always remember, to Allah you belong, and to Allah you return. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And now I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our guest in studio tonight, Dr. Layla Paruk, who is a specialist psychiatrist in practice and also does sessions at the Chris Hani Hospital. Her field of interest is substance abuse, but her passion and area of expertise lies in anxiety disorder, which we will be speaking more about. Layla, welcome to the Health Matters program. And you mentioned to me earlier that you work a lot with anxiety. Now, anxiety seems to be such a buzzword. Can you speak a little bit more about what it actually means when one talks about anxiety disorder?
Thank you for having me. Anxiety is an emotion, and it's initially a protective emotion that protects us from danger. However, anxiety is an umbrella term that's used to define feelings like worry and fear, primarily. Anxiety becomes dangerous when your functioning becomes debilitated, and that's when we start calling the anxiety disorders.
So you say when your functioning becomes debilitating, what is it that would be the red flags that would go on that you know now that there's something to be concerned about and worried about or alarmed about?
I think when you start struggling in your work or career or in your academic life, and then in your home life, your relationships begin to struggle. You find your temperament and your mood changing, and people around you start noticing. So those are usually the hallmarks of a functional decline, as we describe it.
So what is it that when you say mood changing and people not being able to function like they normally would? Give us typical characteristics, be more explicit around that, please.
If a person is overcome by worry, or as in a generalized anxiety disorder, or in fear, if they have a panic disorder, they at times can feel and appear to be very irritable or anxious all the time around the people that they're close to. People can have lots of sleep difficulties. They can have lots of physical ailments like headaches and chest pains and body pains. Sometimes an extreme of an anxiety disorder can result in panic attacks, which are intense, discrete episodes lasting around 10 minutes where patients or people feel like they might be dying, with chest pains and palpitations and sweating and a large variety of symptoms.
Now, you said that with the anxiety, people get irritable, they feel they're unable to sleep. How does this irritability, and do you find that people actually snap?
Absolutely,
there's outbursts. And how does one actually address this? Because one can snap and become irritable in various situations. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's anxiety.
Absolutely. I think if you find yourself spending more time than not in your day worrying about a large variety of different things, and some of it unfounded, and where you begin to almost lose perspective on your worry, then you should start thinking that maybe this is anxiety and not just you being tired or irritable.
So what you're actually saying is that there's no valid reason or substance in that worrying, or that anxiety that person is actually faced with, then it would be a reason to be concerned about.
Well, there may well be a real basis, but if the anxiety starts almost taking over your perspective on the way you view the world, that's when you would start considering that this might be a disorder or more than just what is appropriate.
And then the somatic complaints that you identified, you mentioned headaches and other symptoms. Now, we know that people often go and visit doctors because they have persistent stomach aches, headaches, and other somatic complaints. And if there is no underlying medical reason or medical findings that can attribute, a specific diagnosis, would you say, that would constitute anxiety?
I think somatic complaints, specifically kind of very non-specific, vague complaints, often take patients to emergency rooms, to general practitioners, and I'm always teaching the students that, whatever you become once you're a doctor and however you choose to specialize, these are the kind of patients you're going to encounter in every aspect of medicine. And therefore, all practitioners need to have a good handle on anxiety disorders. So it does take an astute clinician to exclude medical conditions, certainly, but also understand the underlying anxiety.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned panic disorder and anxiety. So what is actually the distinction or the difference, if we make a distinction between the two? How would you know that this is anxiety and this is a panic disorder? What is the clear marker there? So
anxiety, as I said, is a feeling. It's an emotion, and generalized anxiety disorder is it's how we understand it is that a person has an anxious temperament, and that sometimes in periods of stress is superimposed by symptoms of a full-blown anxiety disorder, where the person worries more often than not for a period of time, which results in functional, and so that anxiety is characterized by worry, whereas panic disorder is characterized by fear. So it's a much more short episode. A patient can't predict when the panic attack is going to happen. So panic disorder is characterized by multiple panic attacks occurring in many different settings which are not predictable. And panic disorder often results in what we call agoraphobia, where the person suffering from the panic attack becomes fearful that they're going to get another panic attack, and that results in them avoiding leaving their house, avoiding situations where the panic may arise, although the panic attack itself is uncontrollable.
Okay. What advice would you give to people? Because often we find that there's reluctance, there's a bit of trepidation in seeking medical help and medical intervention. So what is your advice to people out there?
I mean, I'm sure you know this, that psychiatry in general has huge stigma, and maybe a little bit more so in our community. But help is easily available, and the treatment for anxiety disorders is well researched, and it's well studied, and it works. So I think it's worth investing in your own health and in your own mental health, and living the best life that you can in terms of quality to seek the help.
So if we're looking at do's and don'ts, the do is seek intervention. That's what you're saying to people out there, that if help is needed, they need to go and get that help.
You know, the current literature shows that the lag time, so from the onset of symptoms to people seeking help, is in anxiety disorders specifically, it's up to 17 years on average, which is huge. So to live with this distressing, debilitating disorder for 17 years when you can quite easily, seek professional help is quite sad.
Thank you, Dr. Paruk. We will take an ad break, and on our return, we'll continue with anxiety disorder.
Zain Beaker Studios and Islamic Relief South Africa proudly presents an unforgettable theatre production filled with song and spirituality. An Orphan's Tale. A heartwarming, emotional play about 4 orphan children and their incredible journey to find God. Presented by the learners of the Leadership College, a Two Oceans School initiative in Cape Town. This spectacular play will inspire you with tears and laughter. Join us at the Islamia School Auditorium, 29th October to 2nd November 2014. Seats are limited, so book now. An Orphan's Tale.
This film can be set in Cape Town or in Paris, and in the leading role could be an actress or a family man or a businessman. Beside him sits an artist, musician, his colleague, another colleague, or his boss. And the car they're traveling in is a C-Class or a C-Class or a C-Class. The best knows.
Brought to you by Century Motors, Mercedes-Benz Dealer of the Year 2014.
Spice Mecca's newly packaged spices, categorized by spicy orange, exotic red, natural green, and magical purple. Use our blends and seasonings, masalas, herbs, or pure ground and whole spices to create yet another unforgettable taste experience. Choose your color, choose your number. We have your taste. So come on, do it the Spice Mecca way, the cook easy way.
Spectra Door Supplies are manufacturers of standard and customized interior and exterior wooden doors and door frames. Spectra Doors Supplies offers you a wide range of quality doors for your home and business, From simple to complex design, interior and exterior doors manufactured to suit your specifications. Our experienced and efficient team is dedicated to design and create ideal products to suit your needs. For trade inquiries, visit our website, Spectra Doors. Good service and quality products at the right prices assured.
Adega, an upmarket Portuguese restaurant that offers a unique and memorable dining experience. The restaurant offers a warm ambience and was voted Best of Johannesburg, Best Portuguese Restaurant for 7 years running. We aim to provide the best quality food and service. Make your booking today and enjoy fine dining at its best. Adega Restaurants, always open, always good.
Fruit 10 aloe vera juice. No preservatives, no additives. Good till the last bits. Taste it, you'll love it. Another quality product from Marhaba Trading.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Health Matters. Our guest in studio is Dr. Layla Paruk, and we're focusing on anxiety disorders. And please feel free to call in on 011 086 7700 or 1 or 2 or 3. Dr. Layla, you mentioned about the somatizing and people living with anxiety, people that do not actually go for treatment. So if people go for treatment, what are the positive indicators of treatment?
Well, I think anxiety disorders are one of the more rewarding disorders to treat from a clinician perspective, because often patients lack insight into the fact that they're anxious at all. So upon diagnosis, immediately there's a therapeutic effect when patients are told, I think what's going on is that you probably have a generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder or any one of the other anxiety disorders. And so up until that point, the patient is walking around feeling overwhelmed by their worry or their fear, but not being able to kind of put their finger on why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So a diagnosis is usually very therapeutic for the patient, and then moving forward, there's good available treatment for the symptoms of anxiety, both pharmacological, that is with medication, but also with therapy and other modalities.
Okay, so I know in psychiatry they say start low and go slow. So what, you say the different modalities of treatment, perhaps you can speak a little bit more to that.
So there's medical and there's non-medical interventions, and usually those run in parallel and go hand in hand. But the most important thing, I think, is a good assessment by a trained professional, either a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And a psychologist, if the psychologist believes that the patient is a candidate for medication, would refer to a psychiatrist. So once that assessment is made at the beginning, the severity of the disorder is addressed. And at that assessment, you would address severity, but also comorbidities, because anxiety disorders are frequently comorbid with each other. They often comorbid with depression, because if you're anxious for long enough, it's physically exhausting and your mood drops. And then the third comorbidity that's very common is substance abuse. So patients try to self-medicate themselves with a variety of substances like alcohol, like recreational drugs, but also with over-the-counter medication like codeine-containing prescriptions, with sleeping tablets, with other painkillers. So to assess those comorbidities and to treat them, and then you move on to the specific treatment of the anxiety disorder.
Okay. We have a caller on the line. We'll take the call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello?
Hello?
Can we help you, brother?
Yes, I just wanted to know which is like things like bungee jumping and facing your fear, parachute jumping. Does it help with anxiety?
Dr. Paruk, did you hear that?
I did. Thank you for the question. I think what the caller is referring to is situations of extreme, or putting yourself in situations where your fear response is almost challenged. And while I don't think that is kind of an effective treatment, he's along the kind of the right lines, where part of the non-medication interventions for anxiety disorders is what we call cognitive behavior therapy, where fear conditioning is so what we call exposure therapy is a strong component. I'm not advocating jumping out of planes or jumping into canyons or anything like that, but with a trained psychologist, you are taught in a very graded, gentle way to expose your fears to yourself, and then to expose yourself to your fears, and then to kind of in a graded way desensitize yourself to those fears.
So talking about the behavior modification and
Absolutely.
using desensitization therapy. We were talking about anxiety and just the feelings and sensations. Now, if we talk about a typical a person manifesting an anxiety disorder, it's almost as if my understanding is that it's an exaggerated symptom, an exaggerated worry. Perhaps you can speak a little bit more to that.
So remember, anxiety disorders there's a genetic basis to them, and then there's the environmental impact on your genetic kind of your underlying temperament. So a person is born with a set of genes, and then the environment kind of shapes how those genes present themselves into their lives. So when you talk about this exaggerated response, it is that the person, especially in what we call generalized anxiety disorder, their response to their environment and to environmental cues can sometimes, they seem to have lost perspective. And that's where the cognitive behavioral therapy comes in, where a trained therapist is able to help the patient challenge those cognitions, which are often negative ones.
So the illogical thoughts, irrational behaviors, to work on that.
So yes, cognitive behavioral therapy has two big arms. So it's about the cognitions. So it's about the thoughts that a patient has, or a person who suffers with anxiety has, and why they're having those thoughts in the first place. And then it's about modifying the behaviors that are the response to the thoughts.
Now, patients often, when they seek it's as a last resort, would actually go and see a psychiatrist if they've been referred, or in desperation. And sometimes we find that they are not compliant. Can you speak more to that? The contraindications of going on medication and then stopping.
Well, we haven't even got to the medication itself yet. So the medication for anxiety is usually what we call anxiolytics. So the first line is usually the SSRIs, but there's a in the last 20 years there have been huge leaps and bounds in the management of anxiety pharmacologically. One should avoid what we call benzodiazepines, so your traditional sleeping tablets like your Xanos and your Alzams and your Rivotrols and those things, because while they're very effective anxiolytics, the potential for abuse and dependence and tolerance is too high to warrant their long-term use. So what happens is you've seen your psychiatrist and your psychologist, you've been started on the medication, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, there's a marked impact in your anxiety. You feel, patients come to me 2, 3, 4 weeks later and say, "Doctor, I feel like a weight has literally been lifted off my shoulders." And that's wonderful. It really is great. But then they stop their pills. And that's where the danger lies, because while the management and the treatment is not necessarily lifelong, it is something that you would need to be on treatment for at least 6 months. And then to wean and taper off, you would have to be in consultation with your treating professional. And anxiety disorders are usually, they wax and wane depending on life circumstances. So they would have to be monitored almost lifelong.
Okay. And just for the viewers out there, your SSRIs, your selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, we've got another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sister,
Can I give you my
yes.
story?
Sister, if you can make it short, Dr. Paruk will
I have
listen
to
to
make
you.
it short. I'm not sure if this is anxiety. I don't go into a lift. And then also I have another thing. For 24 years I haven't been in a lift. Hello?
Yes,
I'm hearing you.
Are you listening?
Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Paruk
I
is
am.
listening.
Okay, doctor. For 24 years I haven't been in a lift. You know why? What happened to me? My little girl of a year old died. And when they closed the face, it was just too much for me. And since then I won't get into anyone's car, bus or taxi or go into a lift. What is that? I'm already scared to go into a plane.
Thank you so much for your question. Sorry, we didn't catch your
even
name.
if the doors are closed at night, then sometimes I run out. Is that anxiety or is it just fear?
Thank you for your question. I think what you're describing is a form of anxiety that we call claustrophobia. So it's a specific phobia, and you've hit the nail on the head, where you're able to associate that your specific phobia. So your fear of flying, your fear of closed spaces, with the very traumatic event that happened in your life. And I'm sorry to hear about your loss. So you're able to make that connection between your cognitions, which is your thoughts, and your behavior, which is
I put the phone down? I will listen to the TV.
That will be great.
Fine.
Just get on.
So you've already done the work for yourself, where you're able to recognize the connection between your cognitions and your behavior. And so now the next step would be for you to perhaps see a psychologist or a psychiatrist who'd be able to help you move further down that line of managing your claustrophobia and your fear.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Paruk. We will take another ad break and continue with anxiety disorders.
At Trent Tapentile Ormonde, we offer you the best solutions to your specialized home improvement needs. Just off the M1 highway at the Xavier Street off-ramp. We're open 7 days a week for you. We stock a large variety of top international and local brands, such as Grower, Geberit, Saloni, Summerplace, Libra, Geo, to name but a few, the very best. From exclusive polished porcelain tiles to the latest in sanitary technology. For the very latest and best in exclusive bathroom design, flooring, sanitary ware and taps, visit our exclusive showroom at 262 Crownwood Road, Ormonde, Johannesburg. Trent Tapentile, your home, our passion.
Welcome to Dada's Motorland, South Africa's premier used exotic sports car dealership. We stock only the best from BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Maserati, and much, much more. So if you have the need for speed, come into one of our branches and select the vehicle of your choice. With dedicated staff to ensure your satisfaction, there's no better place to get the wheels of your dreams. Dada's Motorland.
Jad Doors offers the finest in exclusive door design. From standard to custom-made designs, we give you wooden doors and windows, sliding doors, folding doors, frames for all your interior and exterior design plans. Come visit us at our showroom. We bring to you innovative products and designs to suit your requirements. We also provide the wholesale trade sector with high-quality, locally manufactured products. Jad Doors. Call us or visit our website today.
Life is full of many joyous moments, and we want to enjoy every one of them. But with time, our bodies just can't handle it because of painful joints. That's why you need OsteoEase Gold, a joint supplement that assists with better mobility, flexibility, and joint health. Live your dreams with OsteoEase Gold, the gold standard in joint care.
Your one-stop home improvement center. We carry the biggest range of boards. Proud stockists of PG Bison A-grade products. We manufacture Sino high-gloss acrylic boards. We carry the biggest range of PVC panels for ceilings. We cut, edge, and drill boards. Contact us at boardcity@telcomsa.net or call us on 011 852 6453. Call us now. Global Flooring. We specialize in porcelain tiles, wall-to-wall carpet, laminated flooring, and moss carpet. Allow us to design, supply and fit your own personalized masjid carpets. Come to us for the lowest prices without compromising on quality. Visit us at number 10 Stella Avenue, Crown Mounts, Johannesburg. Contact us on 011 83 00 55203. Email global@mweb.co.za. Visit our website at globalflooring.co.za.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For those of you that have just tuned in, we have Dr. Layla Paruk, our guest in the studio, who is talking on anxiety disorders. Layla, if you can continue, you were talking about the medication and follow-ups on anxiety.
Yes, so we've come to the point where the patient shouldn't stop their medication once they start feeling better, because medication needs to be for at least 6 months. But I'd also like to talk a little bit about the non-medical interventions. So we've touched a little bit on the cognitive behavior therapy, which is one kind of therapy that is done for patients who suffer with anxiety disorders. But therapy, other forms of psychotherapy are usually indicated. And then we can never underestimate the impact of diet and exercise. And another very important intervention is what we call mindfulness. And mindfulness is an exercise, or it's a study of keeping presence of mind, so of bringing yourself back to the moment, because a lot of anxiety disorders are about worrying about tomorrow, about money, about children, about work, about all sorts of things. And the act of bringing yourself back in the moment, which sounds very kind of obvious, has a profound effect on this kind of uncontrolled worry. There's lots of, so CBT incorporates guided breathing, meditation, and also what we call progressive muscle relaxation. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the interventions are not only you're going to come to see a psychiatrist, they're going to stick you on a pill, and they're going to send you on your merry way. There's lots of other interventions which sometimes require quite a lot of hard work and lifestyle modification, which people may or may not take to, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Paruk. We have another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Brother, how can
you... Can I go on the line?
Yes, please ask your questions, Dr. Paruk.
I'd like to find out these two questions. The exercises, breathing exercise, physical exertion, and aggressive exercise, that got a positive effect on the anxiety. And the other question is, if you're on any type of tranquilizers or muscle relaxants, not muscle relaxants, brain relaxant or whatever, can that have an effect on early Alzheimer?
Thank you very much for the questions. They're both very good questions. So I think what the first question was referring to was the impact of exercise on your anxiety and excessive exercise on your anxiety. And exercise has been shown in very robust literature to have a very positive impact on anxiety, as well as lots of mood disorders. However, often there's lots of substance abuse that's associated with exercise, and it's becoming much more popular of late. So things like pre-workout and high caffeine content substances can worsen the anxiety. So those kind of excessive exercises are usually prone to using these substances which can worsen anxiety. I hope that answers the first question. The second question regarding tranquilizers, as I said earlier, I'm not a fan of them because in the short to medium term, they actually cause what we call a rebound anxiety. So they worsen your anxiety once the medication wears off. So, for example, some of the shorter acting tranquilizers, as soon as they wear off, so after 4, 5, 6 hours, your anxiety comes back with a vengeance. And so those are to be avoided. And your question was about long-term use and do they cause Alzheimer's? There's definitely a link between the long-term use of benzodiazepines and cognitive decline, which is, dementia. So yes, there is a link, and that's why long-term use of tranquilizers or benzodiazepines are not to be encouraged.
Brother, has your question been answered? Okay. We have another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please ask your question, brother.
My name is Jamil. I had a nightmare once. This is a long time ago. But I've been underneath a car. And the car come down on, but it didn't crush me or anything, but it just stopped just above me. And since then, I've had this, what you call a panic attack. Because the ones I had and then they wanted me to head scan. But then to go into the scanning machine, I actually had my wife had to hold my hand. She had to stand around me. And then only could they do the scan. But also later on, like when you go into the mosque, especially on a big night when there's a whole lot of people in there, I feel claustrophobic. But what I used to do, I used to read the Darood Sharif and, just try and concentrate on that. And, I just managed to come right there. I remember when I went for Hajj as well, I was doing the Rosa Mubarak, and with the crowd being pushing me, I was scared in there. So I basically read the Darood Sharif, and I managed to come out of that.
Thank you for your insight into your illness, Jamil. I think what you're describing is quite similar to our first caller, who experiences claustrophobia and agoraphobia related to her panic symptoms. And your trigger was your nightmare. But it sounds like that has kind of gone into every aspect of your life. But I'm also glad to hear that for you found a form of meditation, which is recitation of verses or durood, which help with calming the mind and calming the breathing, and it's a behavioral technique which is very effective.
And alhamdulillah, to entrust oneself to Allah as well, I think that is also a very calming and an effective mode of intervention. Okay, we have another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Brother, please.
I just want to ask the doctor, is there a relationship between your eating habits and your anxiety? For example, people overeat or eat a lot. They always say they suffer from anxiety. Is there something that you can give me some advice on that, please?
Okay.
Thank you for the question. I think that human beings have a very complicated relationship with eating. And from a psychiatric perspective, anxiety as well as mood disorders can result in people either eating more than they should and often less than they should. So it can go either way, really. And eating, like with other behaviors, is open to behavioral modification and behavioral techniques. So if you can identify it as emanating from anxiety, then if you treat the anxiety, then the eating habits or maladaptive habits, as we call them, should settle. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Continuing from that, Dr. Paruk, eating a lot and eating a less, would that not also be attributed to issues of control? Feeling that obviously that I feel in control when I can decide how much I'm going to eat or how less I'm going to eat. So it's also the power and control dynamic.
I think we are venturing into kind of the territory of eating disorders, but assuming that anxiety disorders cause one to feel very overwhelmed and out of control, eating may well be a way of trying to establish control where you're feeling like other aspects of your life lack control.
Okay. We'll now take an ad break, and on our return, we'll continue with Dr. Paruk on anxiety disorders.
Advanced retail technology, specialist solutions, and innovative sales concepts. One name is the new face of innovation, Marla's. With a world-class facility, state-of-the-art workshop, sophisticated technology, over 200 parking bays, kids' play area, gourmet restaurant and coffee shop, together with the best prices. Your one-stop multi-branded wheel and tire superstore. Embrace a world-class experience. Marla's, driven by you.
Throughout history, there have been many champions of flavor and taste, but Jimmy's still reigns supreme. Our Killer Grill's menu boasts the sauciest steaks, spicy and tender chicken dishes, beef burgers. We are leaders in explosive and flavorful taste experiences, resulting in amazing journeys of delight. Try us for our superior taste, adding excitement and zest to your life. New restaurants open countrywide. Jimmy's Killer Grills, the addictive taste.
To build your wealth, start with a strong foundation of Oasis Crescent unit trusts. These Sharia-compliant long-term savings vehicles have a consistent track record, allowing you to select from the equity, property, or income asset classes. The benefits of these highly regulated and transparent funds include daily liquidity, easy to redeem with no redemption costs, no minimum investment period, no management company initial fees, and a low-risk investment management philosophy. For more information, please visit oasis.co.za or contact Oasis Crescent Advisory Services on 0860 100 786. Invest in your future. The Oasis way, the compliant way.
Sedgers, situated in Vereeniging, your one-stop family shop. Get up to 35% off youthful, casual and kiddies branded clothing for the lovers of functional art. Try our Carol Boys range. Look at our exquisite furniture and linen department. Tasteful furniture, decor and advice to matching linen and curtains. Treat yourself to the beauty of designer jewelry, watches, sunglasses and formal wear to suit your taste. Sedgers, your original family store where personal service is guaranteed.
The future is unpredictable. That's why you need a Sharia financial specialist to guide you to success. Since 1968, Anglo-Rand has provided our clients with industry-leading financial services amounting to over 5 billion rand under management. We offer world-class guidance through our Sharia interactive traders specializing in online share and CFD trading, forex products and fixed sukuk investments which yield up to 11% return per annum. Our products are approved by an independent Sharia supervisory board. Anglo-Rand, secure your future, secure your success.
You're all about style, quality and setting the latest trends. You have the perfect home that's not only your comfort zone, but also a special space reflecting you. Express yourself at Aesop's Home with our wide range of affordable quality designer furniture, from lounge and bedroom suites in the finest wood and leather, to chic frames and glittering chandeliers. Find your nearest Aesop's Home from our 8 stores. Visit aesops.co.za.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Health Matters. We have a guest in studio today, Dr. Layla Paruk, and we will now be wrapping up on anxiety disorders. Layla, we've discussed anxiety disorders. You've had all these callers. So what is your message to viewers out there? What would you like to leave them with?
You know, as we were talking earlier, anxiety disorders are very close to my heart because they're extremely common. According to the World Health Organization, they are one of the most common psychiatric as well as general medical disorders in terms of their prevalence. But besides being common, they're also the most debilitating disorders in terms of the direct effect on and direct costs to the economy, but also indirectly because so many people miss work and school and lose their functional capacity. So, and as I said, with that long lag time, because the disorder causes, and psychiatry in general, there's so much stigma and shame and negativity, people resist coming forward for treatment. And the loss of potentially improving a patient's life is quite sad. So I would encourage people to start asking questions. There's lots of resources available online and in community organizations. So start asking questions, start talking about it to each other at least, and get the help.
So you're saying that people can live an optimal life, a positive life, and accomplish and achieve a lot more if they seek the help they deserve and need.
For sure. It's about living your best life and getting the most out of it.
So what message would you give to parents out there? What should they be looking out for, and how should they intervene?
You know, that takes us into childhood anxiety and adolescent anxiety, which we could have a whole other show about, I guess. But children present very differently to adults in terms of anxiety. They present much more with somatic complaints. They're unable to express the fact that they're feeling anxious, so it results in behavioral difficulties, lots of days missed from school. So it's about sometimes believing your child, listening to your child, and getting them the help that they need. If they so need it.
So people out there must be aware of the fact that if they get the help they need, they cannot be entirely cured, but they can live a comfortable life and not be filled with this exaggerated worry and concern and fear, like the claustrophobia and agoraphobia that you described earlier.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we don't talk about cure in psychiatry, but you know, sometimes the results are dramatic, and dramatic in a very positive way. So I do think that it's worth a shot at treatment.
And using not just medical treatment, the medication, but also
well, a multidisciplinary approach with a holistic approach is always better, because the results are usually more long-lasting if you manage your lifestyle and throw all the positive things you have to the problem.
Now, you mentioned exercise, you mentioned medication. What about diet? I'm not sure I heard that.
I think I just touched on it briefly, but as you know now more and more we're aware of the fact that an inconsistent diet can have huge impacts on insulin spikes and glucose levels, which through the course of the day can cause you to feel irritable and anxious and snappy. So it's quite important to maintain a balanced diet and maintain your glucose levels through the day.
We have another caller on the line. Oh, well, the call is just hung up. So you're saying that having a balanced diet, so eating regularly, not missing meals, and ensuring that it's balanced.
And managing your carbohydrate intake is quite important, because that can cause huge spikes in your insulin levels. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is what, I spoke about mindfulness and meditation. So there's lots of online apps available which can help you to start with the concept of mindfulness. And one that I found quite useful with my patients is something called Headspace. It's an app that you download. There's 10 free sessions. You can try them out and see if the app is something for you. But it's very useful for helping you to bring yourself into the moment and center your thoughts.
Shukran, Dr. Layla. It's been very thought-provoking and enriching, and I think the viewers out there will agree with that. On that note, I would like to conclude, and as is customary, we will end with a verse from the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus solihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Sadaqallahu al-azim, and we will continue with health matters next week.